Weddings usually begin with music, laughter, and that warm nervousness you can almost smell. But on this particular morning, inside a grand cathedral in Florida, something else filled the air, something heavier, darker, something that made even the flowers seem unsure of their place. Maddox Reed Wentworth stood at the altar, 6'2", composed, jaw locked, hands behind his back, the kind of man the world was used to seeing in boardrooms, not chapels. His posture told a story, a man who had learned early how to command space without raising his voice. But today, the confidence was slipping because his bride, Ava Lee Carter, was missing. Guests whispered. The priest checked his watch. Maddox's father, Edward Wentworth, folded his arms tightly, a subtle sign that the wedding of the year was becoming an unfolding scandal. And still no Ava. Until someone ran in yelling that she'd been found, but not where anyone expected. Ava wasn't in the bridal suite. She wasn't with the photographer. She wasn't adjusting her dress or fixing her veil. She was on the topmost floor of the cathedral, barefoot, trembling, gripping the veranda railing like it was the last thing holding her to the world. Her breath came in broken circles. Her mascara burned down her cheeks. Her heart beat like a trapped bird thrown against its own cage. "Don't come closer," Ava cried, voice cracked and wild. The wind pushed at her gown, threatening to take her over the edge. Everything in her body screamed danger, not from the height, but from what she believed was waiting at the altar. A man with power, a man with money, a man with control. Those three things once destroyed her. Ava had survived a past no one in that chapel knew about, not even Maddox. A boss who had blurred boundaries, tested her patience, and twisted her attempts to leave into impossible knots. He made her feel owned, trapped, small. And now she was marrying a billionaire, a man 10 times more powerful than her former tormentor. Her fear didn't care that Maddox wasn't like that man. Trauma never asks for permission before resurfacing. Her best friend Jenna Morales burst through the rooftop door, breathless and terrified. But instead of shouting, she stepped slowly, carefully, hands raised. "Ava," she whispered. "Look at me." Ava sobbed. "I can't do it, Jenna. If I marry him, I'll lose myself. I'll disappear again." Jenna's voice didn't shake. She'd rehearsed this conversation in her mind since last night. "You won't disappear," she said. "You'll grow." Ava, Maddox has kept every promise. 1 year of courtship, minus 1 month's living together. He never forced your hand on anything. He waited for you. He let you lead. Ava's breathing slowed. Not steady, just slower. And you love him, Jenna whispered. "You love Maddox. That's why you're so scared." Ava closed her eyes. And the strength returned, not all at once, but in small, surviving pieces. She stepped off the ledge and collapsed into Jenna's arms. Downstairs, Maddox didn't know what happened. But the moment Ava walked back into the chapel, eyes red, but steps steady, he exhaled with a relief so deep it shook him. Their story didn't start with fireworks. It started in an office, thick with financial reports and the scent of ambition. Ava had been hired as an internal auditor for Wentworth Global Oil, a company so large its divisions looked like cities. She was brilliant, quiet, focused, the kind of woman who corrected her own spreadsheets twice before sending them. Maddox first saw her in a quarterly review, petite frame, soft voice, a baby face that made her look younger than she was. But what caught him wasn't her appearance. It was the way she held herself, humble but not insecure, soft but not fragile, innocent but not clueless, a dangerous combination for a lonely billionaire. While other employees babbled trying to impress the heirs of the empire, Ava stuck to facts, numbers, truth. Her competence called him before her beauty even entered the equation. Maddox watched her the way a man watches a puzzle he wants to solve. When she spoke, he leaned in just slightly, a subtle, unconscious tell. He wasn't used to wanting someone he couldn't control. Ava wasn't used to a man who noticed her without demanding something in return. Their collision wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, slow, deliberate. Like gravity, attraction rarely announces itself. It slips in, For Ava, it started with one embarrassing discovery, something she tried desperately to ignore. Whenever Maddox wore corporate suits, there was a bulge. Prominent, unavoidable, dangerously distracting. She hated that she noticed. She hated even more that he noticed her noticing. During private meetings, he'd shift in his seat, adjusting his boxes with slow, unbothered confidence. Her ears burned. Her hands trembled. Her focus dissolved. Maddox pretended he needed to review reports closely, which somehow always meant leaning near her, lowering his voice, or brushing past her just slightly. Their attraction wasn't loud. It simmered, controlled, slow, inevitable. But Maddox fell for more than her body. He fell for the way she worked. Her kindness to interns, her stubbornness, the small sarcastic spark she hid when she thought no one was watching. He wanted her before he even admitted it to himself. And Ava. Ava wanted the part of Maddox she feared the most, his dominance. Not the toxic kind. The steady, grounding, protective kind. She didn't fully understand that yet, but her body recognized something her mind tried to ignore. Jealousy makes strong men reckless. It makes powerful men dangerous. After the wedding, Ava's ex, Caleb Monroe, resurfaced. Caleb had always loved her, clinging, obsessive, terrified of touching her, terrified of losing her. Their relationship had been emotional but never physical, not even once. But now, out of fear and obsession, Caleb flooded her phone with messages. You promised me you'd come back. He doesn't love you like I do. Answer me, please. I need you. One day. Maddox saw the notifications pop up on Ava's screen, and something snapped. He wasn't gentle. He wasn't composed. He wasn't the Maddox she fell for. He demanded she destroy her SIM card, delete all her accounts, cut off every male friend from college. Ava hated it, but fear made her obey. Her past taught her that disobedience led to punishment. She didn't want to relive that, but fate brought a worse night. Maddox overheard Ava on a call, soft voice, hushed tone, private. He didn't ask who she was speaking to. He didn't pause to breathe. He stormed into the room, grabbed the phone, and smashed the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max on the ground. I own you, Maddox said. Everything about you. Ava stared at him, shocked, hurt, trembling. She walked to his room silently, picked up his two business phones, held them in her hands, and smashed them, one after another. Maddox froze. Then he grabbed her iPad and smashed it, too. The housemaids watched the war unfold in the hallway to people standing in the ruins of their pride. Then Ava remembered the most fragile, precious item Maddox owned, a 3D acrylic holographic glass art, his late mother's final birthday gift before she died. He once held it tenderly and whispered, "This is the last piece of her I have left." Ava walked to it, stood over it, tears pooling at her chin, and whispered, "You don't get to cage me." Double quotes crashed. The world broke before their marriage did. Night swallowed the house in a suffocating silence. Neither of them spoke. Neither slept. But just after dawn, Maddox walked to her, no armor, no ego, no dominance. Just a man who realized he'd hurt the only woman he had ever wanted this deeply. He sat beside her, voice barely holding together. "Ava, I chose you because you make me feel human. Because when you walk beside me, I look like the man I pretend to be in the boardroom. I don't want to own you. I don't want to lose you." Ava turned toward him slowly. Her voice shook. "I stayed because you opened doors I never believed I'd walk through. You make me feel powerful at work and safe at night. But I won't live in a cage, Maddox. Not yours. Not anyone's." He nodded. For the first time in his life, he listened without defending himself. The decision wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was simple. They would try again, but differently. With truth, with boundaries, with the possibility of healing instead of winning. Healing is slow. Repair requires courage. Maddox apologized, not as a CEO, not as a billionaire, but as a man. He helped her replace her devices, encouraged her to rebuild her SIM, her accounts, even reconnect with old friends, including male ones. He stopped reacting, stopped assuming, started asking. Ava, in return, allowed him close again. Not immediately, but slowly, with intention. Her confidence grew at work. Board members noticed her. Executives asked for her input. And Maddox became her supporter, not her supervisor. At home, small rituals returned. Brushing teeth together, leaning into his chest on the sofa, him cooking her late-night dinner, quiet laughter in the hallway, in the bedroom. They rebuilt intimacy, not with fear or dominance, but with understanding. Ava learned to trust his strength again. Maddox learned that control wasn't love, but love must be tested to be trusted. One afternoon, Caleb Monroe appeared at the gate, frantic, sweating, pleading with security to let him speak to Ava. Ava froze when she heard his voice. Not out of love, out of memory. Maddox arrived seconds later, calm as stone. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He didn't raise a hand. He simply said, "She doesn't belong to you, Caleb. She doesn't even belong to me. She chooses to be here, and you will not disturb her again." Caleb broke, the kind of break that makes a person look smaller than their shadow. Security led him away. Ava turned to Maddox, tears in her eyes, not tears of fear, not confusion. Tears of clarity. For the first time, she saw him not as a powerful man, not as her husband, not as the man who once snapped, but as the man who chose restraint when he could have chosen dominance, the man who protected without possession, the man she could finally trust fully. Months later, Ava attended her first major corporate gala as Ava Lee Carter Wentworth, not the insecure auditor, not the runaway bride, but a woman who had grown into her place. She walked beside Maddox with quiet elegance, and he watched her with the kind of pride men feel only once in a lifetime. When the press approached, Maddox slipped an arm around her waist, gently, respectfully, and said, "This is my wife, the woman who challenges me, the woman who steadies me, the woman who makes me better." Ava leaned into him, eyes soft. "And you," she whispered, "are the only man who can conquer me gently and let me stay myself." Their lips met, slow, intentional, grown. Not perfect love, but mature love. A love they fought for, a love they built. A love worth keeping. Love doesn't always begin with fireworks. Sometimes it starts with fear. Sometimes it breaks before it blooms. But give to wounded souls enough honesty, enough apology, enough room to grow. And even a broken beginning can transform into a love story worth telling. Hit subscribe if you believe in complicated love, the kind that hurts, heals, and holds you in equal measure, because here, we tell stories that never let go.